All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Banter Evans. We're in a little bit of a new location, so really enjoy this room. Justin, what are people in store for today?
Hey, first off, shout out to Daniel. Thank you for inviting us on location to film from his room, which has the coolest table.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you guys won't get to see too much of that because it will be hosting our bottles, but it is an actual driftwood table.
Yeah,
it's super cool. So thank you for that. We haven't gone on location in a while, so we are doing that from here. This is gonna be a quick hit video, and it's just gonna be a quick explanation.
Yep.
And we're trying to make it a little bit shorter and things like that. So this will be as short as we can, but we'll probably do two parts. But before we start, as far as what the video is, can we shout out that I'm wearing the first hat ever in a video?
Yes, you are. Yeah. You are, but it's a cool hat.
Yeah, it is a cool hat. It usually hangs on my wall. It is signed.
Yep.
And it's got the old label for old Rip Van Winkle and things like that. And it's orange to go with my orange and white theme because of Tennessee baseball doing very well right now.
Yep.
And also, happy National Bourbons Day yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah. But is bourbon hunting at a new definable level is what we're going to discuss real quick.
Yep, and also I have verified that you are wearing your bourbon socks.
Oh yes, I am wearing bourbon socks. Yes, and it matches the orange.
It does.
Yeah. So that being said, is a definable level something that we can actually explain or something that we can discuss? And what do you guys think about it? And of course, always cheers. Cheers.
Yep, hit that like and subscribe button right down below, please.
And what's in your glass?
Yeah. So right now, what we have, just shout out to what we have right now. I think we're both on the Calumet 16.
Calumet 16, yes. Yeah. We have talked about doing a Calumet vertical before.
Yes.
And so
it is going to happen.
Yeah. This is just a kind of a specific relation to the next video we're going to do.
Exactly. But no, what you were talking about is bourbon hunting at a new definable level. And what I really attribute that to is when first time we went to Heaven Hill. And we had to go, and man, they had Old Fitz there. They had William Heaven Hill for you to buy. But something the first time that we ever had this happen, you had to bring out your ID. They scanned the back of your ID, and you could not buy another William Heaven Hill. You were done.
Yep, that was it. You could get one per customer.
Yep.
And so the other way that we were to go around that is if you had a person in your party that didn't want one.
Right.
So you would send them in and then have their ID scanned. So then they were locked out of whatever their definable term was. And so to segue into this, our friend, bourbon fan,
yes.
bourbon family, if you want to call it that,
right.
just went to Buffalo Trace, and Charles has got a better explanation of what it was, but they now have a defined term as being able to shop from the gift shop.
Yeah, what was interesting is now they take your ID, and now you cannot go back after you've done that, and within 90 days.
Which is kind of neat if you look at it in terms of everybody's trying to line up and get the products that they're putting out for a quick turn or flip, if we all know that term,
right.
definition, if you will. Instead, this is kind of making it, you can't do anything for 90 days to try to get more bottles in more hands.
Yeah.
More mouths to drink, things like that.
And so I think really what you see the distilleries doing, and I think you might see this happen more often, and granted I haven't been to a distillery in a while, but now if you see this, I think they're trying to get their product out of the hands of flippers and everything else like that, maybe get into the hands of more people that actually want to try their product. Whereas, they could come in and buy, let me get 5 of these or whatever else. I don't know if they had a limit beforehand or not.
That's a very good point. And to further this whole hunting thing, again, I'm not saying that I agree or disagree with bourbon hunting, because to me it's bourbon shopping.
That's correct.
You're not sitting in a tree.
Yeah.
You're not waiting
or
for
stalking.
You
do stalk it a little bit.
You do a little bit, and I mostly just fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then a squirrel makes me crap my pants when it shakes the tree leaves. But
scares you.
I don't see too many bottles of Buffalo Trace just walk out of the woods while I'm in the tree stand.
Yeah.
Got my crosshairs on it. That's hunting to me. I think it's a funny term, but yeah, to me I call it bourbon shopping. But I agree, bourbon hunting is a thing that people accept. But back to the point of this is when we used to go bourbon shopping, bourbon hunting. In Kentucky, you would just kind of hit different locations and look for what you were looking for, and then bring it home and get excited, share it with friends. But now it's like you go there, you don't go back for 90 days,
right?
And it puts it's actually definable. We have now put a definition on you can't hunt, but once every 90 days from that location. And at Heaven Hill, it was you can't hunt from at the time. I believe it was 1 per day.
Yeah.
At the time, and it was 1 per customer. Well, other distilleries are probably catching on. Other stores are now trying to catch on. They're doing point systems and things like that. So if you're going to base it off of support, based off of a certain amount of time, you now have a definition, a definable term as to when you can actually go shopping.
Yeah, and then now what we see a lot, and I'm sure you see it in your area, especially in our area, you're going to see one bottle per customer. And which is rightfully so. But what they're doing is I think what they're doing is they're allowing more people to be able to come in to get the product.
Yeah, it's like kind of like spreading the wealth, spreading the love, spreading the brown juice, if you want to call it that. Trying to get it out there to more hands on the product instead of the same one over and over. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that live locally around those distilleries.
Yes.
And what I think it does is it prevents them from just going here every single day
and
being the first person and creating a career out of possibly reselling.
Yeah. And I think that's probably, I don't want to say that's probably what is happening, but I bet you there are a lot of people that were doing that, going to these places, buying it, and then right on the secondary market or whatever else.
Yeah. And again, that's the advantage they have to living in that area.
Exactly.
So it's interesting though. It's kind of like if a very fashionable clothing store had a sell. We'll call it Lily because the wives like Lily.
Yes.
And then it's like the advantage was, say, that store, we lived 2 minutes away from it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then our wives would have the advantage of going there and getting it before everybody else. How do you make it fair?
Yeah.
And so now it's almost like the bourbon hunting is now trying to have a definable fair term.
Right.
Fair definition or length of time that they have deemed necessary, that they make sense to that production company, if you want to call it that.
Right. I think really what it's really going to come down to is I think you hit the nail on the head when you said trying to make it more fair. I think that's where you see not only the distilleries doing it, but you see stores doing it and everything. I think that's the change that we're seeing. They're trying to make it more fair, trying to get their product out to more people, the stores are trying to get more people into their store. Because guess what? More people come in, more product that's going to go out. Not necessarily just the brown stuff.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I'm in market a good bit, and I hear a lot of owners complaining about the bourbon hunters because all they do is they go around and look for those particular things. It's kind of like cherry picking. They're plucking it from, when they get a chance. They're the first ones in. They have the opportunity to do that. And so the stores are wanting to reward their loyal customer base instead of these, travelers from different states or something like that that are able to take advantage or have the opportunity to be there as soon as the store opens. Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's up to them if they want to do that.
Right.
If you have the time and you have the means and the capability, by all means, you're allowed to spend your hard-earned money however you want.
Exactly.
So the store owners are kind of like, I'd rather support my people that support me.
Right.
And so I'm hearing a lot of, we will do this on, again, mentioned it moments ago, point system.
Point system, yep.
Well, that's an idea. Then they've got, if you recognize them, have conversation, them personally, family-wise. Hey, thanks for coming in and buying all your wine and beer here. By the way, I've got this bourbon. Would you like to try it?
Yep.
Sure. Or no, I'm not a bourbon fan. Give it to somebody else. Yeah. And so you hear that, but a lot of the owners are now trying to figure out a way to prevent the hunting.
Well, and because you're exactly right. I mean, they're coming in and they're just saying, "Hey, where do you have any Blantons? Oh, no Blantons? Walk right out."
Walk right out. Yeah.
I mean, they're not even going to peruse the store or anything else like that. You never know. You might go in the back, and that's one of the things that we love to do. Go in the back. What kind of beers do you have? Because you know what? I want to see if there's an interesting. It might not get any liquor or anything, but if they got a beer back there that I've never had before, most likely I'm going to pick it up because guess what?
And if it's an IPA, definitely. And stay tuned to our brewery distillery IPA.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're joking around about that. But again, cheers. Thank you guys for tuning in. What's in your glass? Yep. And hopefully you like this one and have some input, comment. Tell us what you think about is hunting definable now, or is it over? Or is it a thing that is now getting more popular because there is bourbon hunting YouTube channels and things like that, which there was one that came to our area.
Yeah, there was, and I'm also curious if is hunting getting harder? Because I really think, to me, it seems like, specifically in this area, I think it's getting a little harder because the owners want to reward the customers. They don't want to reward the people that are just coming in shopping.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like this as well. Is bourbon hunting becoming more expensive?
Yes.
Because they're going to have the bottles that have a higher price on there in the markets that allow it. Now, again, we're in Evans, Bourbon Banter Evans. Thank you guys for following. Cheers.
Yep. Like and subscribe.
That being said, is there a price on the shelf for the hunters if they're willing to pay for it? But yet, I've been told multiple times that that's not for my regular customers. If the regular customer comes in here and says, hey, I'm interested in that, oh, yes, I know you support the store.
Right.
Here's your price.
Yep.
Are you seeing this? Are you guys realizing this, or are you guys noticing this in your markets?
And also, I'd like to hear from you guys to see if you're seeing the point system out there more. It seems like some of the bigger Total Wines and stuff like that, they do a lot of that. How much have you spent? Okay, now you're in to be able to get this number. Oh, you're number 12 to come in, and we have all these available to buy.
This is very true. I've definitely seen that multiple times. So again, Bourbon Hunting, now definable, or do you think that it's not? But we think that it is.
I think so. I think it's getting a lot more. But honestly, this is one I think we can get a lot of buzz on. I'd love to hear the comments on this, and we'll answer as much as we can. Hopefully, from the comments, we can get another video on this going.
Yeah, so cheers. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for joining in. What's your thoughts on, is Bourbon Hunting definable?